So, I've been using the Switch almost every day for the last 7 years. This thing has changed how I play games, especially with kids. It can be very tricky to sit down and commit to playing a console game by the TV, but it's so easy just to flick this thing on and just lounge around and play a game. And with this commitment to the Switch, I definitely have a lot of expectations and hopes riding on the successor. And so, I've put together 7 things that I want to see in the Nintendo Switch 2, whatever the system's gonna be called. So let's start off with number 1. I think it'd be really cool if the successor's controllers, whether they are Joy-Con successors or their own thing, I'd like for them to be filled with water. And there's a few reasons I want this. I think it would be cool if the controllers could leak water. So let's say you are playing Tomb Raider, and Lara steps out of the water and she's dripping wet. I think it'd be cool if the controllers could enhance that feedback. Like, essentially think of it as 4D Rumble, not HD Rumble. So with HD Rumble, you could feel the haptics. With 4D Rumble, you can feel the elements. I think, too, the water should be able to boil in the controller like a kettle. And if you're in like a volcano area in Zelda, all of a sudden your controllers are feeling really, really hot. But if you're in an ice area, they go all cold, the reverse of a kettle, a freezer, if you may. And in that case, it can finally live up to the advertisement of the Joy-Con having ice cubes inside, because you could actually have them if the water freezes. There are so many applications to having water inside. There's temperature, there's weight, there's 4D experiences, it all goes on and on and on. So really, it's a no-brainer to fill the controller with water. For as basic as the Switch interface is, one thing it doesn't really get credit for is the audio design. Obviously there's no like music playing, but the clicks. Listen to that, and who can forget that? Iconic. And I like all these clicks, but listen to this a moment. I'm going to boot up another code. See, I think that's a pretty iconic sound. Boop, beep, it's good. However, I think you can get far more distinct with each game. I think there should be a guy who reads out the title of the game when you boot it, almost like Resident Evil on the title screen. So if you were to boot up another code, the guy would go, "Another code." Or like, if you were to boot up Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, he would go, "Super Smash Bros. Ultimate." There's 2 reasons I think this should happen. 1, it gives a voiceover guy a lot of work, because he has to read out the title of every game on the system, and that would be good for his income. And 2, I think what would make it really powerful is if this ignored the volume slider. So the guy reads out the title regardless if you muted the system or not. You could be on a bus, thinking you're all discreet, but the guy's going to be like, "Sengun Kagura." And you know, it also works for like viral marketing. Like, you may not know an Animal Crossing game has released, but like you're on like a train with someone who's playing their Switch successor, and their system goes, "Animal Crossing, Tom Nook's Revenge." And you go, "I didn't know a new Animal Crossing game had released," and now you know. It's advertising to everyone, just by being itself. Everyone wins. Now the next thing, the GameCube controller is often regarded as one of people's favourites, and I think a big reason for that is how distinct each button is. Like, X and Y are rather similar, but you're never going to miss it where the button is because they all feel so different. And I think they can lean into that. So, like with these buttons, right, they're all pretty standard. They all kind of feel the same. I think the B button should stay like that. They're just like a standard click, but every other one should have a different feel. We're not going to go with shape, because honestly, I think the shapes kind of make this look a bit strange to a regular person. But feel, you're never going to miss where a button is when you know how it feels. So this one, B, very clicky. A will be squishy. And the X one kind of like rotates. It just doesn't feel like it's in the right place. And that can also be used for like Arkanoid. You can sort of like rotate the button around and move the panel around. And the Y button makes like horn noises when you click it. I think that would be really good. I think we've all played with someone who doesn't usually play games. You're like, "Oh, press the Y button." And every time they look down and go like, "Which one's Y?" But now they're going to think, "Oh, that's the one that makes the horn noise." A big problem with modern systems is like every single one of them only supports HDMI out. So if you were to take it to your grandmother's house, who only has a CRT, she can't enjoy Animal Crossing Tom Nook's Revenge. And I think it is pertinent that changes. The next system will support 240p output via SCART, so you can use it on your CRTs. Now, I realise SCART is a European standard, but that's okay, because maybe it will convince TV manufacturers to make SCART an input again on all TVs. Someone's got to pave the way, and if it isn't the Switch successor, who's it going to be? I want my toothy boy back in the business. Look at him. He's going to get you. Now, this one's kind of like an anti-theft device. I think it'd be very cool if the system got to know your humour. So, the way it would do that is it would only open the cartridge slot, this one right here, if you tell it a joke that matches your humour. So if I were to say something like, "Where do dogs park their cars?" The barking lot. It would go, "That's John." But also, I think it needs to keep you on your toes and like, make sure you're not falling by the wayside. Make sure that you're not just relying on old jokes and keeping your material fresh. So if it knows it's you, but feels like you're not really trying anymore with your humour, it'll just keep the cartridge. It'll say you can have it back when you get some new material, buddy. Alright? Don't just rest on your laurels. Tell a new joke. I think that would be good, because like first, it stops theft, and also it keeps people funnier. There's always this debate going around between like physical games and digital games, but these groups are really similar, far more than they realise, because there are many people in these groups that buy games, but don't play them. And I think it would be good to invent a new form of media purchasing for these people. So we've got physical, we've got digital, and, just for them, theoretical. So you can still buy the game, you still get the icon on your menu like a digital game, but it doesn't download anything, it doesn't give you the game. So you are justified in your purchase, but you're not going to be able to play it. So nothing's really going to change. If anything, it just keeps your hard drive or SD card a little bit lighter. So I think this actually has quite a few universal applications for a lot of people. It really benefit the industry, in fact. And last but not least, so the Switch is a portable system that is very versatile. You can dock it and keep it as a console, you can undock it and it becomes a handheld, you can take the controllers off and hand them to a friend, get a kickstand, put it down. That's all very cool stuff. But I think there's more ways to lean in to the versatility and the portability. So the kickstand on the OLED is pretty good. It comes out like that, you can put it on different surfaces, you can adjust where it goes. I really like the kickstand. However, it doesn't make it the system more portable, and I think there is a way to get around that. So I think the kickstand on the successor should have wheels, because that way you can bring out the kickstand, the wheels come out, and the way it becomes more portable is you can use it like a skateboard. So all of a sudden the wheels are out, you stand on the screen, and you just push yourself along. And then when you're done traversing with the system, you can pick it up and play some games. So not only would this be an entertainment device, but it would also be a vehicle of transportation. It would change the world. And again, much like the guy reading out the names, people will see it in the real world and be like, man, I've got to get myself a Switch successor. It's viral marketing done right. So I think all of these points come together would really make this more than just an iterative successor to the Switch. Because you could just be a system with more power. But at the end of the day, people already have a Switch, and I'm not sure how big just a power jump is to your average person. There has to be a little twist in there. And any one of these points could work, but really they all have to be there. If you have, a controller with water that boils, but you don't have the guy calling out the names of the games, it probably won't catch on. It's all going to culminate in one big product. So yeah, these are the 7 things I think the Switch 2 should have, and if it doesn't have any of them, then God help us.